Acts 2, 1-3. When the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place. And suddenly from heaven there came a sound like the rush of a violent wind, and it filled the entire house where they were sitting. Divided tongues as of fire appeared among them, and a tongue rested on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit. The second chapter of the book of Acts describes an extraordinary event that was said to have taken place during the festival of Pentecost. Jews from all over the diaspora had journeyed up to Jerusalem to celebrate their harvest festival. God-fearing Jews from every nation under heaven is how Acts describes them. Note, it says Jews. Pentecost sounds like a Christian word, being derived from the Greek word for 50. But this obscures the Jewish nature of what's going on here. Pentecost is a Greek word because many Jews of the diaspora spoke Greek, often as their first language. A good many didn't understand much Hebrew at all. Following the conquests of Alexander the Great during the late 4th century BC, Greek became the lingua franca of many international Jews, the first books of the Hebrew Bible having already been translated into Greek sometime around the 3rd century BC. The number 50 is particularly significant in this story because it represents the day after 7 weeks, 7 times 7 after Passover. In Hebrew, the festival is known as Shavuot, after the Hebrew word for 7, Sheva. And like all biblical references to 7, it is code for the 7 days of creation when the breath, ruach, of God, variously translated as wind or spirit, the life-giving force, is imparted to all that God has made. It is as if God breathes creation into being. The term ruach, or spirit, is there at the very opening of the Bible. The spirit, ruach, of God was hovering over the surface of the waters, Genesis chapter 1. The harvest festival of Pentecost was therefore a kind of festival of creation. As the wheat and barley were gathered in from the fields, so the best of this life-giving harvest, the fruits of creation, were taken to the temple and offered back to God as thanksgiving. For all things come from you, and of your own have we given you, as the book of Chronicles puts it. The date is important to this story, but so is the place. Jerusalem is where the gap between heaven and earth is said to be at its thinnest, the place where God's life force, his ruach, might most easily make the leap from heaven to earth. Imagine it as a bit like an electrostatic charge that jumps between the globes of a Van de Graaff generator. In the excitable atmosphere of a packed Jerusalem, tongues of flame were said to have descended on the followers of Jesus, enabling them miraculously to talk in a language that was understandable to everyone, no matter where they came from. For later Christians, Pentecost came to be imagined as the beginnings of religious multiculturalism. The sermon goes like this: whatever our original culture, whatever our linguistic differences, the Spirit of God can transcend them, speaking directly to all. In the Christian imagination, Pentecost morphed from a Jewish harvest festival into a celebration of Christian universalism. The specific culture in which one was raised no longer mattered, the sermon continues. Jews or Greeks, Libyans, Parthians or Medes, God could bypass all of that. Pentecost is often described as the birthday of the church. In Christian culture, this has become a way of telling the story about how the Christian anywheres established their theological dominance over the Jewish somewheres. Or to put it rather simplistically, how Judaism went global and became Christianity. But that's not really the story here at all. For what is going on at Pentecost is not so much the birth of something new as the continuation of something very old, a very Jewish answer to a very Jewish problem.